Are you looking for answers to the unknown? Welcome to Live with Medium Lisa Phoenix and step into the magical presence of the metaphysical realm. Lisa will share the wisdom and musings from her own experiences, have intriguing conversations with other mediums and healers, in addition to exploring a wide array of topics and teachings on intuitive and mediumship development. Lisa will be taking your calls and inviting your friends and loved ones in the spirit world to share their stories with us. Raise your awareness as you are reunited on the level of love, and let's go live with Medium Lisa Phoenix.
Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. It's a great day in Southern California. Welcome to the Live with Lisa Phoenix radio show. I'm Lisa Phoenix, your host, a medium and energy intuitive. My show is all about healing, mediumship, and energy management. And my special guest this morning is Tammy Urbanek. Is that right?
Urbanic.
Oh, close. Medium and clairvoyant. We're going to talk about a variety of topics this morning, and especially about Tammy's journey and just her whole what she does. And if you want further information about the show, please visit my page on the OMTimes radio site at omtimes.com/iom/host/Lisa-Phoenix. I would love it if you go to my website once again, lisaphoenix.net, and sign up for my Intuitive Insights newsletter, which will also add you to my mailing list. And please like me on Facebook. Now, I'd like to share a little bit about Tammy. These are from your own words. My purpose in this life is to be on my own healing journey, and I support anyone else who is on or desires to be on his or her own healing journey as well. To assist in one's journey, I communicate with loved ones and guides with integrity, compassion, and clarity, as well as offer Tai Yi energy work with integrity, competence, and compassion. Communicating with the people in the non-physical, spirit guides, and deceased people is an ability I've had since I was a child. I grew up with a father who is a medium as well. I started opening myself up around in 2008 and am now working with others in communicating with those who have passed away and with spirit guides. Spirit guides are with us all the time. They offer assistance when asked. However, the assistance is not always received by the person. Sometimes that assistance is not recognized because it does not fit with the package we want it to. Many times the assistance won't necessarily fit within an expectation. Guides have information to pass on to you, about you, and for you. As a medium, my work is to repeat the information from your guides to you. The information is centered around issues that need to be examined and healed in order for you to fully live a joyful and passionate life. Now, Tammy's website is www.empowermentthroughhealing.org. That's EMPOWERMENTTHROUGHHEALING.org. Tammy, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on today.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Now, before we start, I know you have your website and you also have several other avenues where people can communicate with you, correct?
Sure. They can like me on Facebook as well at Empowerment Through Healing, my Facebook page. They could even friend me on Facebook, Tammy Urbanek. And people do communicate with me there. They'll send me messages asking for some guidance, and then also emailing me is just as fine. Well, turbanek1@msn.com.
Great. And then you also have a blog, correct?
I do. I have two blogs, but the one blog that is updated most regularly is called The Silent Whisper in the Dark.
That's a wonderful name. Can you tell us a little bit about that blog?
Sure. I started the blog in January. I went through a little bit of a shift, actually, starting last summer, where I began having different deceased children come to me regularly at night, during the day. And these children experienced a great deal of torture and a great deal of pain, and they were still holding on to that pain in the non-physical. A lot of people assume that when we physically die, everything heals, and it doesn't. You take everything with you into the non-physical that you were carrying with you while you were still alive, whether that be beliefs, physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain. And these children needed and continue to need assistance in letting go of their pain and transitioning, crossing over. These are children who had not crossed over yet and who were really stuck in their darkness. It led me to take a trip in January with a couple of people, 2 other women, out to Montauk and Camp Hero on the East Coast. That's right at the tip of Long Island, where there are different experiments occurring. I went there to see how many deceased were still there, and there were quite a few deceased teenagers and children who were still caught up in their illusions and in their pain. We helped many of them cross over, and that led me then to another trip recently in Dulce and Los Alamos, New Mexico. Mm-hmm. So the blog is a story of that. It's that journey. Some of them still come to me, many of them actually still come to me quite often, the children and the teenagers for the most part, very few adults. And I will write sometimes their story on my blog. Most of it I'm keeping for my book, and the book title is Silent Whispers, and I'm still working on that book.
Gotcha. That's great. But the book is in the same venue, right?
It is. It's all of these kids' stories, what happened to them, the testing that went on, the results, how they died, where sometimes some of them knew where they were, some of them didn't. But also the trip to Dulce, New Mexico, and the trip to Montauk. And we're not quite clear on where our next destination is going to be, which I'm assuming will be in the book as well.
Wow, that sounds wonderful. Now, Tammy, I know you said your father was a medium, right? But can you share with us how you really started to open up and what, just your journey?
Mm-hmm. He is a medium. He's been a medium. He's a different type of medium. He's what's called a direct medium. So he's a medium for a non-physical teacher named Jonah. Nothing related to the Bible, nothing like that. But he's been doing that since the 80s after he had a near-death experience. I think I was around 6 or 7 years old when his change occurred. And when I was probably 12 years old, I was told that I had the same ability, but I didn't want it. I said, they tease me still, and they say I pushed it away and said, I'm not going to be anything like you. I'm not doing all that stuff.
Right.
And then when I was 18, I was told again that I have the ability, but I had this very strong fear of ghosts. It was so strong and a little paralyzing at times, and I had to really work at overcoming that fear because it was preventing my ability from developing. So, you can be born with these abilities, any abilities, but you need to develop them. You need to refine them. You need to know what you're doing, what you're working with, and that takes practice. And I was told that it would develop anywhere between my late 20s and my early 30s. It was in my very early 30s, I'm just now 41, that it really began. I healed the fear. I was tested on it. I moved through it. And then after that, within weeks and a couple of months, it rapidly began developing. And in 2008, I decided to leave my secure job as a school teacher and become self-employed.
I was going to
say that didn't make sense.
I just want to be unemployed.
Yeah, at least unemployed as a school teacher.
Right,
let's put it that way.
Know.
And it started off called Seeing Spirits, and then I changed the name to Empowerment Through Healing when I became a Tai practitioner.
Gotcha. Now, you have certain, I'd love for you to share, because we were talking earlier about empowerment and people have different definitions of what that actually means. So do you want to share your thoughts on that with everybody?
Yeah, sometimes there'll be some folks who perceive empowerment as having a barrier around them, and they don't let anybody get too close. They stand strong in their ability to not be weak, and that they can make their own choices. They don't need anyone interfering in their life. But empowerment to me is more about, you know who you are as a soul. You know what you want to accomplish in this life. You know what you want to discover about yourself. That you have decided that life is not just about going to work, going home, going to work, going home, and being responsible with your bills and so forth, or raising your family. It's about coming to a place where you discover yourself on the deepest level, and where you learn to love yourself on the deepest level, and where you can really spread that love and share that love with other people and have the richest, deepest relationships with other people and with yourself, and have this sense of joy that's just this daily sense of joy and passion. And that doesn't mean you never have a bad day. It doesn't mean you never feel off. It's this continuous process, this continuous journey where you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you're pulling away layer after layer of energy that just isn't supporting you.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I find that what you had said in the beginning about people, just being strong and making their own choices, a lot of times I find that is just like the first it can be the first stepping stone into it, because a lot of people have not been making their own choices and been letting people into their boundaries and stuff. But I feel that, as you said, I feel like some people get stuck there and never move from beyond that point. Don't you think?
Absolutely. And then there are sometimes cases where a person thinks they're making their own choices, but they're not.
Exactly.
They're making choices based on a set of beliefs that they grew up with, and they've tried to remodel it to appease the conscious mind, but they're actually making choices that are wrapped up in a set of false beliefs.
Right. Yes, I totally agree. We are getting ready here for a commercial break. Please stay tuned with us. We'll be right back as Tammy will continue to share with us about her journey. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're live with Lisa Phoenix on the OMTime Radio Network.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome to The Gathering Around My Kitchen Table on Equilarium FM, Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join my guests as we integrate spirituality into everyday reality with vibrant conversations, inspired interviews, and my latest channeled guidance to inspire and brighten your day. I'm Claire Johnson, and together we'll be raising vibrations across the nations.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Tammy. Tammy, I was wondering, you work a lot with guides and guide energy. Can you share with the listeners a bit about exactly, how spirit guides work with us and what they do, what they don't do, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm. I first became aware of my own guides. At that time, I had 2 female guides. I now have 4 guides, which the number can change for many different people. At that time, it was 2 female guides, and they presented themselves to me. I think I might have been around 8 years old, maybe 9, and it scared me greatly because I didn't understand it. And I ran out of my bedroom screaming. And my parents said, "Oh, well, those were your guides." And I was like, I don't even know what that means.
Well, can I just interject? So did you physically see them? Is that what scared you? Okay. Just wanted to make that clear.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So they were very transparent. Guides, what I have come to learn over the years of my life, guides are in the non-physical, of course. They're in spirit form, and they carry a higher level of consciousness than the person they're assisting. They carry a great level of compassion, patience. They will never force you to hear them. They will never force you to receive their information or their assistance. They will never intervene in your choices. They may warn you, this is a painful choice. You're about to make a very painful choice that's going to create a painful outcome. They'll give you those warnings, but they're never going to stop you. They will stand there and watch you make that painful choice and try to assist you when the outcome is there as the follow-up. But they will never intervene. And sometimes people just want their guides to take care of them. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what decision to make so I can move on. And that's not their purpose. It is the person's responsibility to make their own choices. It is the guide's job to help you understand what choice you're making, what the outcome is likely to be, and what energy you're making the choice with. So when you are making choices out of pure fear or anger, you're going to have a result of fear or anger. And they're going to convey that to you. In guide sessions, they many times will talk about your childhood. They'll talk about your relationship with your parents or your grandparents or whomever. It's significant. They will talk with you about false beliefs that you've developed over the course of your life and the results of those beliefs and how those beliefs are really driving your choices in a way that is not beneficial to you. They'll talk with you about different energies that you're holding on to, whether it's depression, anger, stagnant. Maybe you're stagnant. Maybe you're bored. Whatever the energy is, they're going to talk with you about, well, this is the energy you're carrying. This is why you're carrying it. This is the history of it. And this is what you can do about it. They're not going to give you information unless you can actually do something about it. But then that's up to you after the session is over. I always tell people, what you decide to do after the appointment is over, that's entirely up to you. Your guides are not going to make you feel guilty if you didn't follow their advice. It's just that if you don't follow their advice, you may not see the results you're wanting to see.
Right.
They carry a very high level of integrity. And again, they're going to carry a higher level of consciousness than the person they're working with.
Gotcha. And now there's some things that I know that as you said, guides will not step in and overrule your choice. But I think too, there's things that guides just won't do, right? And they won't answer. And what are some of those things?
There are times, right, that they won't answer a question, depending on the intent of the question or if it's beneficial for you to hear the answer. Gotcha. They usually will not talk about other people when it doesn't benefit you. They don't tattletale.
Right.
They're not going to, you want to know something about someone else. They're probably not going to tell you unless you're coming in and you're a parent and you're struggling with your 10-year-old or your 15-year-old. Of course, they're going to offer you guidance. They're going to offer you suggestions. Here's how you can work with your child or your partner or whomever the struggle might be, or maybe it's your boss. But they're not going to really give you personal information on people outside of you. And there might even be some limited information they'll give you even on your own child, depending on the age of the child and so forth. Sometimes they give some dietary advice. Sometimes the issue comes from your diet, and it's the diet that's causing depression or other things that are going on. Sometimes they'll talk with you. You're in the process of developing cancer. You're in the process of developing heart disease. I had one person where her guides told her that her husband was in the process of developing heart disease and that he needed to see a doctor. And he waited a long time to go finally see a doctor. And sure enough, it was already full-blown heart disease at that point. So they're going to give you guidance, and then, again, you determine where you're going to take that information.
Right. And I don't believe they'll ever give us either more than what we can handle, right?
They're going to tell you what you need to hear when you need to hear it.
Exactly. Now, so it seems like you kind of, you're working on this book over here and you have your practice over here. So when you work with people, what is the process for you?
Well, after they make their appointment, many times it's on Skype or phone because it's out of state or out of the country.
Right.
But it doesn't really matter whether it's in person or phone or Skype. How it usually works is I will start the session with the guides talking. Mm-hmm. So usually, unless the person has already been coming for repeated sessions, in those cases, sometimes the person will start with their questions. But typically, the process is I will start repeating the information right off the bat. And for brand new people, sometimes your guides will talk for 15 minutes straight right off the bat, talking about your childhood, the current issues that are going on, and what you can do with that, and what is leading up or what has led up to certain difficulties that might be occurring. And then it becomes dialogue. You have an opportunity to ask your guide specific questions. They'll give you the answers, or they'll guide you in a direction. So, for example, a person, they might come in thinking, well, here's what I want to hear. Here's what I want to talk about. And your guides come in and they see that what you're wanting to talk about is avoiding the real issue. They're going to guide you to the real issue. Here's what's really going on. This over here that you want to talk about, this is a distraction because you're afraid to deal with the real issue. And they'll guide you back in the direction that's going to support you. That happens as well. But they'll start off talking and then it becomes a dialogue.
Gotcha. And do you just do guide readings? What services do you actually offer?
If a person needs to or wants to connect with a deceased person, I always leave that open. In each and every session, I leave it open for deceased people who can offer support. So not anyone can walk in. I have a parameter in my office or wherever I'm doing my session. Mm-hmm. And within that parameter, there's only certain individuals who can come through. That would be your authentic guides. My guides are the gatekeepers to...
Right.
Plus, I can feel their energy, and guides' energy feels a very specific way. And so the authentic guides, and then a deceased person if it's meaningful. If a deceased family member wants to come through and create issues, create problems, or continue abuse, that's not allowed in my sessions.
Right.
Those are the types. So deceased people, and then guides, and then the Tai energy work, which is in person only.
Okay, can you expand a little on what the Tai energy work is? Because I'm sure a lot of people have heard of Tai Chi, but I think people might not be familiar with Tai.
Tai is very ancient. It's very little known for now, anyway. But it's very ancient. It predates acupuncture in history, and Tai uses meridians similar to acupuncture. Now, acupuncture is a wonderful healing modality as well. It works with the physical meridians of the body. Tai works with the physical, mental, and emotional meridians of the body. There are over 4,000 treatments that are very specific and have to be delivered in a very specific manner in order for them to work. There's different techniques used in Tai. Person will lay on a massage table fully clothed without wearing any metal, watches off, earrings are off, so forth. And the practitioner will have already chosen the treatment. So we have treatments that address heart disease, address cancer, address brain stress, address depression, anger, confusion. Like I said, there's a lot of treatments, and every time we attend class, which is required, we learn more and more advanced treatments that can work with a variety of things, like brain injuries. And different treatments that work at detoxing the brain from when a person used to be a drug user and they have holding a lot of brain toxins or even may have a brain injury.
Gotcha.
So the treatments are very specific, and then they can see the person can see very strong results. But Tai Yi is not a magic pill. It's based in science, and it is a tool to move a person forward in their healing a little faster than they could without it. So it's not a requirement for healing for sure, but it certainly can quicken the pace.
Right? Mm-hmm, yeah, enhance what they're doing. Now, is a session, are your session combined or are they separate? Like,
how
do you work?
A person can schedule both a Tai Yi and a guide session in the same time slot. I have that available. Of course, they have to be in person if they want both. And then a person can schedule a 30-minute guide session or a 55-minute guide session. With Tai Yi, the treatments vary depending on what the treatment is for. The time is going to be different. Some treatments are 45 minutes. Some treatments are an hour and a half, even 2 hours. But I don't have a whole lot. I don't have a whole lot of those treatments. So it helps to kind of know where the person's going in terms of Tai Yi anyway. But yes, they can book both together, and then we do the Tai Yi session, and then we do the guide session.
Gotcha. So it sounds kind of like Tai Yi it's kind of like a journey in itself, right? And as for you each time is it like the more you are on that journey, the more treatments that you learn, or do you learn them all?
Yes, we continue learning the treatments. Like I said, there's 4,000, but I think I might have 300 in my books.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But that in itself seems like it's a journey.
It is, definitely.
And you step into newer and more treatments as you move forward.
Exactly.
We're going to commercial break. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Tammy, and we will be right back. Please stay tuned.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she is feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O-Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi, this is Angela Levesque, host of Entanglement Radio. Join me Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern for inspiring conversations with visionaries in spiritual science and conscious healing. Entanglement Radio, Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. Transcendent talk for the conscious mind.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Tammy. Tammy, let's talk about healing and the importance of healing. And because, you know, in this day and time, there's so much stuff out there. I think people get overwhelmed. And, you know?
Absolutely. It can be, a lot of things can become very overwhelming. And being on a healing journey, in my opinion, is very, very important. That's why I say that I'm really invested in my healing journey as well as supporting yours. I would find it very difficult to help support someone else's journey if I'm not already solid in my own. If I'm struggling with a lot of fear or anxiety or anger or frustration, how am I going to be effective in delivering a Tai treatment or communicating with your guides if that's where my energy is? So that's why I say it's delivered, both are really delivered with integrity, that if I'm not sure where I'm at mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, then I'm not going to be very effective. And if I'm not going to do this work right, I'm not going to do it at all. And that's the same method of thinking that I used when I was a school teacher and I was teaching kids how to read. These are 6th graders, 7th graders who would read at a 2nd grade level, and we needed to get them moved up as fast as possible. If I wasn't going to do it right, I wasn't going to do it at all. And so I placed a lot of effort into that. Same concept. Being on a healing journey means to me being invested in your self-worth, being invested in your soul pathway, being invested in getting out of the group mind, the group mentality, and really finding out your authentic self, your own individuality, and leaving behind any copies that you might have created along the way.
Right. And, you know, everybody has created copies along the way. Right?
Yes, it's very common.
And a lot of times I would think sometimes you get people who are actually on a healing journey but don't necessarily realize it.
Yep, that happens too sometimes. Or they have these abilities to start developing and they don't really know what it is or they can't really make sense of it and they just want guidance in that.
Yeah, because it seems to be happening with people more and more these days, that they're just developing these abilities. And I think it can get kind of confusing sometimes what to do with them. And, you know, if, you know, some abilities develop, but even if they develop, I mean, I think people don't realize, you know, well, they don't have to become a medium or they don't have to do, you know, they can use their abilities wherever they're at. Don't you think?
Oh, yes, most definitely. And everyone has abilities and everyone has abilities in different things. Some people they're an amazing chef. They're an amazing cook, or they have this beautiful ability to compose music, or they have this beautiful ability to communicate with the non-physical or offer intuitive guidance. Whatever it might be, it's important to recognize it and really work with it. And it doesn't have to be an ability that supports you financially. It can, but it doesn't have to. It can be something that is a part of your own self-discovery as well. You can have an ability to see and communicate with the non-physical, but that doesn't mean that it's your job to be a medium. It could, but it doesn't have to mean that. So there's so many abilities that people could really look into and see if that is part of their personal individuality.
And what kind of advice do you give people who are just starting out on their journey?
My advice would be start a journal. Get a really nice journal that you just love opening and writing in. Get a pen that you love writing with, just flows across the paper. Or some people like to use the computer. They prefer to type. But start a journal and start journaling on how you're feeling and the choices that you're making day to day. It is so helpful for me to have I started my journal back in 2008, so I have 7 years worth of journals.
That's amazing.
That I can, you know, when like I said, no one's perfect and everyone has off days. So when I'm having an off day or an off week, I pull out my journals and I study them for patterns. I study them, what choices I'm making, what different choices I need to make. I really study my patterns, and it's so helpful to have that. That would be my first piece of advice, is get a journal. And then flowers. If you like flowers, put some beautiful flowers in your bedroom so that when you wake up every morning, you see beautiful flowers. Clean up your area of clutter. Clean up the energy in your area. Really start paying attention to your environment, the environment you sleep in, the environment you work in, the environment you live in, and start cleaning that up, whether you're decluttering physical items or you are using sage to smudge the energy out of the environment. People probably can't do that at work so much, but they can do that in their home, certainly their bedroom. How many times do people go to bed angry or frustrated or sad? And that energy stays in your bedroom. It doesn't just go away. You have to clean it out. And there's a couple of ways to do that, but for the general population, the easiest way is through really good sage, just pure sage where it's not mixed with cedar, just sage. And that is going to clear out the energy. You don't want to go back to sleep in that crap. You want to clean it up and get it out of there. Exactly.
Okay. No, that sounds wonderful. And then again, and that's why you're here. They should get some guidance, don't you think?
Yes. And then when people are ready, you can communicate with your guides without a medium. So anyone who wants to start that process can simply ask, and you can say it in your mind or you can say it out loud. Either way, they can hear you. And you can simply make your request. Please help me recognize your assistance, or please help me recognize your energy. They will. What they won't do is force it on you. They're not going to bang you over the head. So if they offer the recognition because you asked them to, and you're over here distracted, well, you missed it. So you need to be paying attention when you make those types of requests. You need to pay attention at that point and start looking for that assistance. It can be an intuitive thought, a feeling, a dream. You can have a conversation with your guides and it's completely unconscious. You're back and forth. They're talking to you, you're talking to them, but it's completely unconscious. You can then have a dream sometime later that is a representation of that conversation. They can speak with you in your dreams. So there's so many different ways they can offer valuable assistance to you. And then if you're wanting more direct assistance, or you're feeling like it's just not working for you, you're not hearing them, you're not getting it, then that's when a medium can become a helpful tool in that regard.
Right. And I do also think that at times it is good, even if you are hearing them, to kind of get some outside guidance every once in a while so that you make sure you're on track.
Yes. I talk to my guides. They give me guidance. And I have my father who I go to, my parents. And I speak with my father. I speak with the one that he's a medium for, Jonah, all the time, because it's so valuable to have just all of the assistance that you can bring into your environment. I have a lot of assistance available to me, and I use it because I'm on my own healing journey as well. And there's constant learning I'm making about myself. Like I said, I went through this transition last summer and I'm making all these new discoveries. And sometimes I need someone's guidance.
Right. And so what do you say to people? Because, there is a lot of people out, like you have a lot of support in your family, but I hear from people a lot. I'm all alone. There's no one to help me. What do you offer them? And
I can definitely recognize that. I've definitely been in a place in my life where life was really, really hard. I became a single mom at age 19 when my daughter was a month old. Her father was abusive and an alcoholic. And so I left. I was working at McDonald's, making $7 an hour, delivering newspapers at 3 a.m. I was really, really scared. And it was hard, and I had my parents' support, but I still felt alone many times, even though I wasn't. And I had my guides there, but I wasn't listening to them. I was so focused on survival and getting over my pain. And it took time. It took some years to really learn what self-respect meant and what self-love meant. And what I can tell people is that you're not alone. First of all, everyone has guides. Some people have 2, some people have 5, or somewhere in between. They will never leave you alone. What does happen is that we close off ourselves from assistance, and we, for whatever reason, we are not allowing ourselves to see what is available. We're more focused on what we don't have. Also, if people are really lacking in the physical relationship department, there are different organizations, different groups that are out there that people could join, different classes people can take to start getting to know people on a different level and create different types of relationships. But the question to ask yourself is, what element of my personality does not want external relationships? And to really ask yourself honest questions to get those honest answers.
Yes, and I agree with you 200%, but I'm really glad that you shared that, with everybody about your experience. Do you think that sometimes, because again, I really think that people sometimes focus on, the universe, the spirit world is against us instead of it's for us. But I think people need to understand that the universe, they're always working for us. Don't you think?
Well, it depends. If a person is practicing their limited beliefs, their limited painful beliefs, then the universe, as we call it, is going to be a reflection of that. Mm-hmm. Our environment is going to be a reflection of that. If we are searching and we're making different choices and we're examining our patterns and where our patterns come from and how we continue to feed into the painful ones, the universe is going to be reflecting that. So it depends on what energy are you holding on to, what choices do you continue to make. That's what's going to be mirrored back to you in your environment. So it can be either way, positive or painful.
Gotcha. No, and I think that that's a good thing for people to know. Tammy, we're going to be right back. Listeners, thank you for being here with my special guest, Tammy, and we will be right back. You're listening with Live with Lisa Phoenix on the OMTimes Radio Network. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Do you want to be a better communicator? Do you want to better connect with the important people in your life? Do you want to enrich your relationships? If so, join me, Matthew Cooper, on the Positive Control System Show every Wednesday evening at 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on OMTimes Radio. I'll meet you there.
The best of holistic, spiritual, and conscious world. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Welcome back, everybody. You're live with Lisa Phoenix and my special guest, Tammy Urbanek. I'm just, I keep calling you Tammy because I'm so afraid of your last name. Were we close on that one?
You were close. Urbanic,
like a bonbon. So, Tammy, I know you also offer people. Do you offer people coaching?
I do. Thank you for bringing that up.
Can you tell us? Yeah, can you tell us and explain about all that?
Sure. I offer coaching in areas that I feel that I can adequately address with competence and understanding, where the person might be struggling or feels kind of stuck. And I've only coached with people who have already been receiving assistance from their guides. I've never had a person contact me asking for coaching who hasn't already talked to their guides. I'm willing to do that. I just haven't had that occur yet.
Right.
But it's set up as a very systematic method of coaching. I never took coaching classes. What I did take was college classes. I earned a master's degree in special education. I earned a master's degree in public administration for nonprofits. And I used my tools as a teacher and how, when I was being taught how to deliver instruction, I used the same method. So it's very systematic in regards to this. We set up a goal and two objectives. Once a person tells me, this is my area of struggle, this is where I need to focus my energy, I say, okay. And I say, I can help you with that. I've been there. I know what you're talking about. And here's how I got past that issue. So I'm using my own experience. What did I do? What steps did I take myself in order to move past this type of issue? So I'm never going to ask someone to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. So we have a goal. We have two objectives. The coaching is about 30 minutes. It's every 2 weeks. So each objective, which is just a step. So you have two steps that meet you in the direction of your goal that you want to achieve in that 2-week period. We do some conversation. I give you your goal and two objectives. We talk about a perceived obstacle that could try to interfere in success. And then we meet again in 2 weeks. We talk about what happened, what came up for you, and we have a new goal and two objectives. There are 8 goals total, and right now it's set up for 10 sessions. The final 2 are we're wrapping everything up, we're reviewing progress, and then the final one is to create a plan so that you have a document, something that you have on paper to walk away with that you can go back to and review when you have an off day or an off week. Okay, I need to go back and do these things to get me back on track. That's essentially what it looks like in a nutshell.
Gotcha. And so I know the booklet itself. So is the booklet that you come up with, is it based on the coaching that you've done, or do they get it prior? Like, do you give them homework? Do you know?
I give them a booklet. It's mostly, it's just space to write down the goals and objectives.
Gotcha.
And some journaling. There's a couple of quotes in there that we start off with. We talk about commitment because it's a very focused and driven type of coaching. The commitment level on the person needs to be pretty high. Otherwise, what I have seen is that they're not doing anything. They're not taking the steps. They're not meeting their goal because they have all this resistance come up. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you're definitely not going to see the results that you're saying you want to see. The people who see the strongest results that I've been coaching so far are the people who have a high level of commitment, and they're doing the homework. They're doing the tasks, and they're seeing the results.
Gotcha. And just to give an example, what kind of tasks do you give people to do aside from journaling?
Aside from journaling, a task might be, let's say a person is struggling with expression. Maybe they fear judgment. Mm-hmm. So they won't say how they feel. They keep everything hidden, and they avoid that altogether. So a step in that direction might be first, searching where that really began. So a week objective might be to look for your pattern of where did you learn to suppress your expression and why. And you start tracing that pattern. That's week 1. And then week 2 might be in actually you need to start expressing yourself with person A or person B. And you need to say something specific to that person. And then look for a response. Look for your own reaction, but then also look for the response in the person. What was it? What fear or what emotions come up? Did fear come up? And you're looking for your own personal reaction and how you responded to that.
Gotcha. And I also noticed on here, because I in looking at your website, I mean, I noticed even though you specialize, you kind of break down things like as far as your the services you offer. Do you know what I mean? Like you break it down, like the relationships. So what are all the different services that you offer people?
Altogether or in coaching?
Oh, I was kind of stepping out of the coaching and just going for.
Okay, yeah, I can do. People come to me for the just guide sessions where they want to speak with their guides, but then many times a couple want to come and talk just specifically about their relationship, so that you have relationship guide sessions where that is the primary focus. It doesn't have to be with your partner; it can be with your kid. It can be with anyone. I have offered in the past, I haven't done this recently, where it is a group of, I want to say employees, but you have a group of people who work together, so coworkers.
Gotcha. Yes.
And they want to, maybe they all run their business and something's going on that's not working. And so they want to come together and talk about how they can better work their business together mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And then all of their guides will be present in that group session, talking with them specifically about how their relationship is impacting their work, their business.
Wow, that's great. I mean, because it's great. I think people need more of that, you know?
Yeah, that has been very successful. When I say successful, I mean that people responded well to that type of group. Like I said, I haven't done that in a while, but it is fun to do. I do offer group sessions every now and then where people can hear other people's guides speak to them. So usually it's a limit of 10 people, and then everyone has a chance to speak with their own guides in a group setting. But you have the opportunity to hear, oh yeah, so Sally's guides talk with her really differently than my guides talk to me, so you get to have that type of experience where you're hearing other people's guides talk as well. And it's a learning experience. Sometimes guides will say something and you think, oh, that really resonates with me. That means something to me as well. I could learn something from that. So groups, relationships, work sessions, of course the one-on-ones, the Tai Yi energy treatments, and then the coaching, which is a predetermined time.
Gotcha. And then it says that here sometimes you will go to people instead of them coming to you if need be.
For the Tai Yi, yes. I charge more because I have to travel and drag my table and all of that.
Of course.
Yeah, there have been times where I've done that. Not a lot, but a few times.
Gotcha. No, I just think it's wonderful that you make yourself so available to people, you know, and based on their needs. You know, I think that's wonderful.
To me, it's so important to assist people who really want assistance. It just makes my heart sing when I can help someone who really wanted the help and really felt like they could utilize it. It can sometimes become a little frustrating when a person, they're getting the assistance, but they just keep hitting their head up against a brick wall. They're not allowing themselves to get it and to start making different choices. Of course, I continue working with them because everyone deserves assistance. Everyone deserves help on some level to some degree or to a great degree.
Right. And I also think that different people are at different phases of their journey. Do you know what I mean? And there's different times that different people will awake, even if you're like telling them truth. You know what you know?
Well, that's where I was,
Yeah.
in my early 20s. I was hitting my head against the brick wall. And then when my daughter was a teenager, there was a lot of anger there on her part with her relationship with her biological father. And so we went through another round of life was really hard for a few years in my household because there was just a lot to deal with in terms of my daughter. And again, I was hitting my head against a brick wall for a little bit of time. But it's like what you said, everyone's in their own process. Everyone's on their own journey, and we can never compare our journey to anyone else's because we don't know their past.
Exactly. Now, we are getting low on time. So, Tammy, can you just go ahead and tell everybody again, because there may be people listening now who weren't listening in the beginning. Tell them again, I'd like you to mention your blog again. I'd also like you to tell people how they can contact you.
Sure. My blog is The Silent Whisper in the Dark. My website is empowermentthroughhealing.org, and people can actually schedule their own appointment right on my website through GenBook. It's an online scheduling system. You don't even have to email me to schedule. You just put in your name and email, and you'll get your confirmation through GenBook. But also you can contact me through there. You can email me at turbanek1@msn.com. And you can text me as well. All of my information's on my website, my contact information.
Okay. And again, what is your Facebook page? And
I have an Empowerment Through Healing Facebook page, and then my own personal Facebook account, Tammy Urbanek.
Gotcha. Tammy, thank you so much for being on the show this morning, and thanks for helping us all expand our awareness a little bit more. As I mentioned to all of you earlier out there in Radioland, please visit Tammy's website at empowermentthroughhealing.org. That's empowermentthroughhealing.org. I want to once again thank all of you listeners out there for hanging out with us this morning or this afternoon, depending upon where you are. You're listening to Live with Lisa Phoenix on the OMTime Radio Network. Please visit my website at lisaphoenix.net. That's LISAPHOENIX.net. Live with Lisa Phoenix is on every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.